All right, let's talk about something that's absolutely fundamental to any data project. See, every great data adventure, it doesn't start with a line of code or a fancy algorithm. It starts with a map. Today, we're diving into the discovery phase, that critical first step that turns a vague idea into a real mission. If you've ever felt totally lost in a sea of data, well, this is your compass. This quote just nails it, right? You wouldn't gear up for a big treasure hunt and then just sprint headfirst into the jungle with no idea where you're going. Of course not. You'd get a map, you'd chart a course. Data analytics is exactly the same. Jumping in blind is pretty much the fastest way to get completely lost. Okay, so here we are. Our data adventure is officially beginning. And the very first thing we have to do, we need to get the lay of the land, figure out what's really going on before we take a single step. So, what is the discovery phase, really? Think of it as the foundation for your entire project. It's that time you set aside before anyone writes any code to really lock down the mission. It's all about figuring out the what and the why way before you ever get to the how. This right here is the single most important question you will ever ask on a project. Seriously, every single decision you make, every model you build, it all flows from the answer to this question. If you don't have a clear problem to solve, you're not doing analysis. You're just wandering around in the data jungle, hoping to stumble on something interesting. So, once we know why we're here, it's time to get ready for the hunt. This is our gear check. We're assembling the crew, checking our tools, and just making sure we're actually equipped for the journey ahead. This is kind of like packing your backpack for the expedition, right? Do we have the right people on the team with the right skills? Do we have the tools and the tech we're going to need? And maybe most importantly, do we have enough time? And do we even have the right data to get started? But preparation isn't just about what's in your backpack. It's about who's on the journey with you. Who is this treasure actually for? These are your stakeholders. It's anyone who has a real interest in the outcome. And you've got to identify them and understand what they're hoping to get out of this right from the beginning. Now, within that group of stakeholders, there's always one person who's key, the analytics sponsor. I love this analogy. Think of them like the quest giver in a video game. They're the one who sent you on this mission in the first place, and they're the one who will ultimately decide if you've succeeded. So what do you ask your quest giver? You have to dig deep. Don't just ask what they want to learn, ask them why it matters. But the real killer question, the one that changes everything, is that last one. What decisions will this analysis help you make? Because that question directly connects your work to a real-world action. A huge part of this prep phase is also just being realistic. What could slow us down? What are the potential roadblocks? It is so important to identify things like not having enough data or not having enough time now, not halfway through the project when it's way too late to do anything about it. This is all about managing expectations from day one. Okay, gears checked, we've talked to our quest giver, we understand the mission. Now for the fun part. It's time to actually draw the treasure map. This is where we get super specific and define exactly where that X marks the spot. And this slide, this perfectly illustrates the whole point. We're turning a vague feeling into a specific, measurable mission. You see, sales are weird. That's just a feeling. You can't solve a feeling. But why did online sales drop 10% last month? Now that is a problem we can actually solve. Once you have that crystal clear question, you can form an initial hypothesis. It's your first educated guess at what the answer might be. And this isn't some random shot in the dark. It's a theory based on what you already know. And it's going to act like your North Star, guiding your entire exploration. So, to follow our sales example, a fantastic hypothesis might be something like this. See how specific it is? It's totally testable, and it gives you a clear direction. Now you know exactly what data you need to look at. Abandoned carts and shipping fees. Simple. And to test that hypothesis, you need clues, which, of course, means you need data. So the final step in drawing your map is brainstorming all the possible places those clues might be hiding. Could be clean databases, could be messy website logs, customer surveys. At this point, you cast a really wide net. So we've walked through the what and the how of creating this map, but let's just pause for a second and really focus on the why. Why is this phase so absolutely, fundamentally critical? Well, when you do a proper discovery phase, you walk away with real, tangible results. You get a clear problem statement, you know who all the stakeholders are, you have a starting hypothesis and a plan for finding data. But you know the most valuable thing you get? A shared understanding across the entire team, making sure everyone is on the exact same quest. And honestly, this analogy is just perfect. Skipping this step is like trying to bake a cake without a recipe. You could have the best ingredients in the world, amazing data, powerful tools, brilliant people, but without a plan, you're just going to make a huge mess and waste a ton of time and money. When you boil it all down, it's really this simple. The discovery phase isn't some boring preliminary step you can just skip. It is the treasure map. Without it, you're lost. With it, you've got a clear path to finding those valuable insights. So, the next time you kick off a project, I want you to resist that urge to just dive right into the data jungle. Take the time to draw your map first. Ask those hard questions up front. Because every single great data adventure starts with a solid plan. Thanks for joining the expedition.